Welcome to Make and Decorate, a podcast for makers who love to sew, quilt, and decorate. Hello, everyone. This is episode 16 of the Make and Decorate podcast. I'm Stephanie, and this is the last episode of 2018. Oh, it's so exciting. I started this podcast, like 5 months ago in late July. So I'm really excited. It's been really fun, and we're just going to continue moving forward with it. So on this episode, I've got a ton of things to share with you, and I'm just going to start with just an update on what's happening here in the Chicagoland area. For almost a week now, we have had such mild weather. It has really been nice for December, and I've had some blue skies, sunny, temperatures in the 40s. I mean, it's really been nice. I cannot complain about the weather. So here we are in the home stretch of pre-Christmas preparations and getting things done. How are you guys doing? You've got more stuff to do, or are you all done, ready to go? I'm busy. I've got a lot to do still, but it's okay. It's doable, and I'm gonna get it done. So I'm feeling good about it. So remember when I was telling you a few episodes back that I reassessed what was on my to-do list to get handmade gifts done by the holidays, and I took off some of the things. Well, I replaced them with a different handmade gift, but which was not nearly as time consuming as a sewn or quilted gift. And I can talk about it now because, well, I've already gifted one and I've got a few more to go. Friday I will gift to some of my clients, but I made for the first time Madagascar bourbon vanilla extract. Oh, it is so cool. I can't believe that I've never even tried to make vanilla extract before. I just never crossed my mind, but it's really easy and it's fun. And so you just have to get the right vanilla beans, and I really wanted this to be as good quality as what you get from Williams-Sonoma with that one Nielsen Massey brand of vanilla, which is so expensive. I mean, vanilla beans are pretty pricey. So, but really, for an 8-ounce bottle of that Nielsen Massey vanilla extract, it's like $55. What? So yeah, I made my own, and it is pretty awesome. So you just have to find and make sure that it is Madagascar, and there's actually several kinds of vanilla extracts you can make. There's a Tahitian vanilla bean, and there's a Mexican. Did I say chili? Gosh, vanilla bean. I don't even know if I said chili, but if I did, it's vanilla. So a Mexican vanilla bean, and now I see them making these, mixed varieties of a mixed Tahitian Madagascar vanilla extract and so forth. But for my first time, I just wanted to keep it to the Madagascar. And so, it's just 2 ingredients. It's vanilla beans and vodka. You have to start it by steeping the vanilla beans in a jar of vodka. There is a ratio that you do. And then you have to you have to shake it every day and let it, I don't know, I guess steep is what I call it, for at least 30 days. And the longer you let it go, steep or whatever, the more robust the flavor gets. So, and then I made these labels, Handmade with Love by Stephanie. And I said what type of vanilla extract it was. So much fun. And the cute little 4-ounce jars. I put a couple of vanilla beans in every jar because you could actually keep this going. You can keep adding vodka to your vanilla extract that has the vanilla beans in it, and it'll just keep making more vanilla extract. It's really cool, and I kind of checked on it every now and then over the past month, and the first few days, it starts turning the color of the vanilla beans, but it definitely still smelled like vodka. And then a few weeks in, it really smells just divine. The vanilla scent, and it just smells like vanilla extract, and it's just so nice. So I'm so thrilled with how that turned out. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to gifting the rest of those on Friday. So that was a really good, still keeping it handmade as a gift, but very doable in the time frame that I had. So I have a little segment on what I'm listening to, reading, and watching. And I usually do this towards the end, but I don't know, it's the last episode of the year, so hey, let's get a little crazy and go out of order. So watching, I actually last weekend went to the movie theater. I don't really go there that often anymore because it's just, the movie theaters have gotten bigger and louder and more crowded, and I don't know, it's just, I would rather just, since streaming has become available, I just love to wait for movies to come out on streaming, and I can have whatever snacks I want and beverage and have my dog on my lap in the comfort of my own home while I watch the movie. But it is still kind of nice to be able to go out. My husband loves Clint Eastwood, so we saw his new movie. It's called The Mule, and it's based on a true story. I'm not going to give any spoilers out, but it's based on the true story where this 87-year-old man got pulled over for a traffic stop and was discovered to be hauling drugs for a drug cartel. And so Clint Eastwood plays this character. And, his movies, he's such a great director and actor. And there's always parts, I think, this is just my opinion, but there's always some parts of his movies where there are just some really endearing parts. And I love how he captures just the real human spirit. And he did this also, one of my favorite movies of his too is Gran Torino. That was a good movie. And we went to a theater that had been renovated, and I had not been there since. And it's a little bit on a smaller scale. And every seat was a leather upholstered recliner that when you pressed a button, it kicked out the footstool and you reclined back and you had the nice cup holder in the arm. And these were very generously sized recliners. It was So nice. Oh man, I would definitely go back to that theater again. I don't like the really big, large stadium seating theaters with the IMAX and like they just, I mean, holy cow. Blow me away with the sound turned up so loud. I mean, I know. I'm hearing myself and I'm like, I sound like an old person, but whatever, so be it. I don't like to be, have my eardrums blown out with the special effects sounds. So anyway, it was a good experience. It was a good movie too. So that's what I saw recently in the movie theater. I've got a couple other things. I know this is a make and decorate podcast, but I don't know. I like hearing what other people are up to as well. And I've gotten some really cool YouTube recommendations from the other podcasts. So let me know if you like this part of the show or if you don't. But let's move on to YouTube. YouTube, I subscribe to many channels and I've told you about some of the ones I've watched already, but now I have discovered YouTube Music. So I have been, because, Pandora, and I like Spotify a lot, but they have specific algorithms to where if you have the music on in the background for any length of time, you kind of figure out and things just start getting played over and over again. So on YouTube, I found this YouTube music station, and there's many different genres, and there was a Christmas one, and it was all like updated music. There was some from One Republic, which I love that band, and Sia. Just was really refreshing and just different. I have to tell you about this. There was a song by a group called Home Free, and they're a vocal band, and they sang the best rendition of Auld Lang Syne that I have ever heard. It was a cappella, and beautiful. It was, you could really hear the lyrics, and it was just like I was listening to a whole different song, even though I was familiar with it. So, yeah, it was really great. I highly recommend listening to that on YouTube. And I actually was so curious because I've never heard of them before. Well, it figures because they are actually a country group. And I don't really love a lot of country music, although there's several exceptions. And I do like, Garth Brooks and Carrie Underwood. But this group really, wow. I mean, the harmonies, they're just really, you have to look up on YouTube, Home Free, Auld Lang Syne. All right. And then, I've also been watching Mr. Domestic. He has a couple of newer videos out, and one of them is on how to make a Scandinavian star ornament. So I actually made some of those. It was really fun. It's a little confusing at first because it's like weaving fabric strips, but it's not a ton of weaving. And once you make a few, you kind of get the rhythm to it. So that was fun. And he's got another one that he just released. I haven't watched it yet, but it looks interesting. It was something like a fabric gum wrapper bracelet or something like that. So check it out. He's always fun to watch. And I like his tagline where he likes to spread positivity in the, I don't know, craft world or whatever, but it's all about positivity, and that's what I'm about as well. Okay, so moving on to Netflix. Okay, there is a new movie that came out in the last couple weeks called Dumplin', and Jennifer Aniston is in it, and some other people. It's kind of like based on, it's got like a storyline of beauty pageants. So And then there's an underlying theme of what's her name? Dolly Parton. So there's a ton of Dolly Parton music in this movie. This movie, oh my gosh, it was so good. It's so cute. And it really, man, it brought back like a lot of Dolly Parton songs that I didn't even realize I knew so many of them, but she has put out a lot of music throughout the years, and these are really good songs. So that's a pretty good movie on Netflix. If you have Netflix, I really enjoyed it. Okay, and for reading, I am reading right now Frances Dowell's. She released a Christmas book, and I down or upload or whatever to Kindle, and it's a friendship album 1932 and Christmas 1932. So I realized that it's actually like, well, 1932 precedes the what she had released over the summer on her a podcast, like an audio version of a friendship album 1933. And I had listened to a lot of those. I'm a little bit behind, so I still have to catch up on those. But I did start reading this Christmas story, and it's an extension of the same characters in her audiobook offered on the podcast. So that's really good. I really like it's kind of set in 1932 and 33, so I like period stories, era stories. And there's another book. So my local library actually has, everybody's probably does, but I mean, I like to do the digital library book loans, and the only thing with that is, some of the more popular books have a long hold, like a waiting time for them, because there's only so many copies of the books that the libraries have. And so a few months ago, I just looked through a ton of books on there and put a reserve on a handful of them. And I had even forgotten about some of this because I was like number 239 on the list. So, and then these books are loaned out for like 3 weeks. So it's going to be a long wait for some of them. So one just freed up. And so I went ahead and checked out my loan, and it's called Little Fires Everywhere. Yeah, Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. And this book is actually going to be like a little mini series on Hulu, I believe, with Reese Witherspoon. So I'm looking forward to reading this book. I don't know exactly like what it's about, but I do know that, there's some drama and mystery and that sort of thing. So it looks pretty interesting. So hopefully I'll be able to read that over Christmas break. So if you're on Instagram, you've probably noticed that a lot of people are posting like their top 9 makes of 2018 and that sort of thing. So I was thinking about it, and for the podcast, I put together the Make and Decorate Make and Decorate's Best Sewing Stuff of 2018. And it's in no particular order. I just kind of went through this past year of new products, new tools, notions that I've been using that have been wonderful, and fabrics and other things. So let's get into it. The best sewing stuff of 2018. All right. One of the first things is called the Precision Oiler Pen. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It is shaped and is a size of a pen, and there's a little reservoir inside that holds sewing machine oil. And then the applicator tip is long and skinny so it can fit in tiny spaces. And then you distribute the oil from the top of the pen by pressing it down, and it will dispense a precise drop of oil into your machine. And it's so portable, it doesn't leak, knock on wood, and it is so great. I love this oiler pen. I've taken it to a retreat in September, and it's so easy to tote around. I mean, it's like a pen, and it's made out of like this aluminum, so it looks nice. It looks pretty modern and cool, but it really works well. It doesn't hold a ton of oil, but your machine doesn't take that much oil anyway. I haven't even had to refill it yet, and I filled it in September. So, I have to tell you, I didn't even have a sewing machine that needed to be oiled until about 2015. That's when I got my Juki TL 2010Q. And that machine needs to be oiled. And it needs to be oiled on the regular in like 5 different areas. So that's when I first learned how to oil a machine. So I got like this big jug of sewing machine oil. Well, guess what? The oil goes bad. So it will turn like this yellowish, deep gold brown color over time, and it's not really that good to use anymore. So when you buy oil, don't buy it in super large quantities unless you use it in that amount of quantities, which you won't. And which brings me to another best sewing stuff of 2018, and it is Zoom Spout Lily White Machine Oil. And, this is a nice size bottle of oil, but not too big. And what's really cool about it is that it has a spout that lifts from the top. It's flexible and will bend so that you could reach hard to reach areas, like down in your bobbin area. So that's what I had before I found out about the precision oiler pen. And I keep that in my sewing room, and I just refill the oiler pen from that bottle, but definitely can use both of those to oil my machines. The next thing on my list is cork fabric. Oh, I love cork fabric, especially for bag making. It is really nice. It's eco-friendly, made out of a natural material, cork, and it is really high-end looking, and it's easy to sew with. So cork fabric, and it has a really nice, and it's not a texture, but it's more of like a visual texture where it's not like one flat color. And there are many colors of cork. I mean, it comes in like a bright fuchsia, or you can get it in its most natural color. But there are variations in the color because it's a natural fiber, and it's really cool. It really adds depth to the fabric. So I really love cork fabric. And like I said, it really adds a lot to the look of a bag, or you can make an entire zipper pouch out of it, or a wallet. It doesn't necessarily need to be lined. And yeah, it's really a cool fabric. I love cork fabric. So you can get that from the Sew Sweetness website. I'm going to put links to everything I talk about on the show notes so that you can take a look and see if you like it. They're either all from Amazon, Sew Sweetness, or I've got a couple of other vendors' websites to share with you. So another thing, bag hardware. So I've been kind of like heavy into the bag making this past year because I really love the Sew Sweetness patterns. And, after working on a few really large and long-term quilt projects, it's kind of nice to just be able to sew and make something that will only take a day or two and you're done. And you have a finished, something. Which, if you have a finished bag, that is really cool. It's such an accomplishment. And her patterns just really look top-notch. And I'm telling you, I get so many comments on the bags that I've made and I use. So it's just really cool. I like it. So bag hardware. I order most of my bag hardware from an online shop called M&D Bags, and it's out of Canada, but she carries a wide variety of bag hardware in many finishes, and my favorite finishes are the iridescent one, and that one looks kind of like the Tula Pink hardware, her scissors and so forth. So it's really pretty. I use that color a lot, and I also love the rose gold. Yeah, the hardware is so much more intimidating than, how do I say this? It seems more intimidating than it really is. It really is not that hard to install hardware in a bag. So if you have any reservations about it, you should really just try it. I think the biggest, deterrence to it is just that you spend all this time and effort to make this bag, and then you have to cut a hole through all the layers in order to put a bag, like a turn lock or something in it, or purse the feet on the bottom of a bag. But it's once you get the hang of it, you'll be less hesitant to cut holes in your bag to put the hardware in. It looks so sharp. That elevates the look of a bag by leaps and bounds. So yeah, I love putting hardware in bags. All right, so next on my best sewing stuff of 2018 is a Sew Sweetness pattern bundle called Minikins. This is a Minikins that was released last year. I've made most of them throughout this year, and it's a collection of 12 patterns, and they are all have less steps. They're easy to make, and they make wonderful gifts. I've actually gifted a lot of them. And there's actually this one bag called the Zeppelin bag, and I made one out of real leather for my brother, and it almost looks like a DOP bag for a guy, so it makes a really good guy gift. And along with the patterns, there are tutorial videos that come with it. So this is really nice. There's always something in the videos that will help you to be a little bit more efficient and explains something that maybe could not be conveyed through a photograph on the printed pattern. So I think that's one of, definitely needs to be on this list of the best sewing stuff of 2018. There is another Minikins, Minikins 2, that was just released late October, just a month or so ago. And in that collection, there's 13 patterns, and some of them are more, it's kind of like just a step up in difficulty maybe, and different types of bags. There's some wallets, and there's actually a big picnic cooler. There are some bags that have clear vinyl used in them, makeup bags. Bags with like the mesh that are meant to be like packing cubes, organize your stuff inside of your suitcase. I mean, it's really cool. So I haven't sewn any of those yet because I didn't get them until super recently, like last week. So but definitely the Minikins 1 is a great place to start. It's a good value, and they are really a pleasure to make. And if you want something that is a fast finish, that would be something to make. Okay, hopping on over to clothing patterns. I discovered just in late August this year a pattern company called 5 out of 4. And it was because I was searching. I mean, I was just doing a Google search on pajama pant patterns. My husband wanted some more pajama pants for his birthday, and I just wanted a different pattern from the one that I had been making him for the last several years. And so I happened upon 5 out of 4. And when I put the pattern into the cart and I went to check out, I didn't even realize it is a free pattern. That was so cool. So that was my first pattern from 5 out of 4, and it was free, and it was such a good way to, see the style that the pattern maker has in her patterns, and just, it's just a good kind of like non-committal thing that you can do to test out if you like the way that the pattern is written and so forth. So, and I did. These pajama pants turned out great. And I was looking for one with a little bit more of a slim leg. The pattern I had for the other ones was kind of like that, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, where all these pants were oversized, like relaxed to the max fit. So, I like these new ones. And they had side seam pockets. It turned out really well. So I was really impressed, and I have since been back. And she had a Black Friday sale, and I just loaded up on some patterns. But even before then, I went back on and I ordered like 3 more patterns after I had made the pajama pants. And one of them, I think I talked about before, was a kid's pullover fleece pattern that I made with my niece. And it's called the K2 Kids Fleece Pattern. So cute. It's got, you use 2 different fleece fabrics and contrasting, and it's got a really cute curved line to the front and the back where you use the different contrasting fleece, and so cute. Really love it. So I really recommend this pattern company, and the next podcast that comes out in January, I talk to the pattern designer herself, Jessica Pierce. So this reminds me to remind you to subscribe. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and be sure to listen and look out for that episode in January with Jessica Pierce from 5 out of 4 Patterns. Next on my list is a wool crewel embroidery thread. So this is really cool. I like to do hand embroidery, and I found out about this crewel yarn or thread that is made from wool. It's really soft and fluffy because it's made from wool, and it's very forgiving. So if you are new to hand embroidery, or you just don't want to have to be so precise, this wool thread is so forgiving because it's fluffy. So it will cover up any like crooked stitch or whatever and look great. This one, I actually found out about this when I purchased a Craftsy class a while ago. I don't know, it was about a year or so ago. And not even, I think it was earlier this year. Before it really became Blueprint, it was Craftsy. And Kristen Nicholas is the instructor's name, and she's an artist and she has some books out. She uses a lot of color, and she does this crewel embroidery. I think she knits as well. But yeah, I liked the class. The class was on hand embroidery. I think it was crewel embroidery, Crewel, which is just a type of hand embroidery. So check that out. I'll put the link to her Etsy site in the show notes. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a few notions. One of them I've been talking about recently, and it is that Martelli Ergo 2000 rotary cutter. It's the one that has the bent handle, and it's the 45 millimeter size, and I have been using it for the past few weeks, and the more I use it, the more I like it. It has a spring flip mechanism where you can just flip it with your finger to close the safety over the blade when you're done using it. And it really does ergonomically work to relieve the strain on your wrist, elbow, and shoulder. So I really am liking this rotary cutter. So I think that's one of that makes the list. All right, and just a few more things. I think back in January, I bought this wool press mat, a 12 by 18, and I got it off Amazon, and it's the Pam Damore kind, and there's many different kinds out there. These wool pressing mats can get very expensive, so just, because I'm dipping my toe into this product, I went with one that, wasn't the priciest one, but it was still a 1/2 inch thick, and it's really nice. I love it. And now everybody's getting these wool press mats. It's just like, it's a thing. But I'll tell you why. Because it presses your fabric from both sides. So you press your iron onto your fabric, and the heat, the wool holds the heat on the bottom of the fabric, and it's as if it is being pressed from both sides. So I liken it to the tailor's clapper. So it does kind of like a similar thing where, when you use a clapper, although the clapper does even more because it really could put a permanent crease in a fabric. But the wood of a clapper also holds the heat and keeps it on the fabric longer when you press it, and really produces a very crisp press. So the wool mat does a similar thing where it just gives you a nice press from both sides of your fabric. So I really like a wool press mat. The last thing I have on here is, now this is the only thing on the list that I really have had for longer, more than 2018, but I just still felt like it needed to be on the list because, it goes hand in hand with my wool press mat. It is the Steam Fast Mini Travel Steam Iron. This little mini iron, it's like a mini size of a full-size iron. So meaning that it's got the same sort of a little shape of an iron, it's just like smaller. And it really heats up well, and it does a great job for a mini iron. I use it so much. I take it with me when I go like out to retreats or sewing, get-togethers. It travels really well because it is portable and mini. But what's surprising is that I also use it at home all the time. So it's just a nice extra little tool that, it's pretty indispensable. So I love that little mini steam iron. All right, and I've just got one more thing that sort of, I call it an honorable mention because I don't actually have this tool. But I learned about it from Stephanie Kendron when I had her on the show back in November. And she is a Cricut influencer, and she was telling me about the Cricut Maker, and the new Cricut Maker has a rotary blade for cutting fabrics. And I just think that is such a wow, because I have a Silhouette, and it's the same type of a machine. It's just like a brother. There's the three main types of machines in this category, and they are they're kind of like this little mini CNC cutter. So basically like an electronic file is uploaded, and the blade just replicates what the file dictates. So, and it will cut, it will use pens and do drawings. You can, a lot of people use these machines to do heat transfer vinyl designs that are ironed onto clothing like t-shirts and sweatshirts and bags. They will also use it for vinyl that can go on as wall decorations, like decals. But what I like it for is cutting fabric. So this Cricut Maker has a rotary blade, which means you do not need to put a backing on the fabric to stabilize it. Because on my Silhouette, you have to have either heat and bond backing on it, or you have to treat it with something like Terial Magic, which is a fabric stiffener, so that the fabric doesn't get all bunched up as it is rolled through the machine, and the blade sort of drags across it, and just it just bunches up and just becomes a huge mess. If any of you are lucky enough to own a Cricut Maker and you use the rotary blade on fabrics, I am interested to just let me know how you like it and what you make with it. It's so cool. So, anyway, another thing to add to my wish list. Yep. So there you have it. That's the Make and Decorate Best Sewing Stuff of 2018. Okay, so switching gears a little bit. In preparation for this podcast, and knowing that it was going to be the last Make and Decorate episode of 2018, I wanted to look ahead for 2019. So, a lot of people love to do a word for the year, and I've tried it in the past. It doesn't work for me. I don't like a word. It does nothing for me. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but I just don't do it. Don't do the word. I also don't do resolutions because I don't know. I feel like going into the year, resolutions are kind of negative, and it's like you're trying to completely change negative behavior. So I like to go into the new year, with more of a goal. I like to set specific goals. And last year, going into 2018, I really gave myself a top priority goal, specific goal with actionable steps. So, for accountability. And that was to launch my podcast. I started working on the podcast in January and really held myself accountable, finally, to just do this. So, and then even though I launched it in mid-July, I had been working on it all the months prior to that. And I am really happy that I attained this goal. I'm very pleased that I held myself accountable, but I did it in a way that was realistic and step-by-step actions, and I stuck with it. So that really is what works for me. So I'm going to do it again for this year. And you know what? This goal of launching the podcast, and I created such momentum with it that I even went ahead and launched my YouTube channel. So this is really cool because, that wasn't even, in my line of sight at the beginning of the year. But as I kept going, it really motivated me, and I'm so glad I did it. So this year in 2019, I'm going to continue with that. Those are still goals, and I still have things and benchmarks that I want to attain. But the big priority goal for me for 2019 is that I really would like to design and release some PDF patterns. I've been thinking about this all year, and so right now it's not as specific as my goal was last year, but it is out there, and I will be working on it. I've got a couple of ideas, so I will keep you updated throughout the year. I have actually one specific way that I will do this, but I'm going to work on it a little bit because it's just still all in the design concept phase right now. So that's what I'm looking ahead for in 2019. And I really am going to keep going with the podcast, and just want to bring you some great content and some good guests. And you know what? We're going to start the year out with a bang, because in January I have a couple of phenomenal guests. You will love them, and you already know who the first one is. So, yeah. So let's bring it on, 2019. All right. So before I go, I really want to wish everyone happy holidays. And even if 2018 was a tough year for you, I just want to encourage you to hang in there. In 2017, I really had a rough year. It was it was just one of those epic bad years. And 2018 was kind of just like, get back up, dust yourself off, and rebuild, renew. So whatever you're going through, whether it is health related, financial, personal, just hang in there and, do what you can. Don't be too hard on yourself, and refill your creative tank, I guess I could say, with some sewing and crafting and whatever it is that just fills your heart with joy. Really, sewing just does that for me. I need to sew. I need to quilt. I need to craft. And it really is what, just like I said, feeds my soul. So, it's very cathartic, and it's a form of therapy that is just rejuvenating, and don't consider it a luxury. Consider it a necessity. It's something that us creatives need. So maybe over the holiday break, do a little selfish sewing and make something for yourself. I'm sure all of us, by the end of the year get so depleted because, we just love to make things and give to other people our handmade treasures. So yeah, do something for yourself and enjoy what's left of the year. I really appreciate all of you who listen, and I appreciate that you subscribe and that you're sharing. I'm really looking forward to the new year, and thanks so much for listening. Have a great holiday, and I'll be back in January, so bring on 2019, right? All right, bye for now.